Welcome, everybody, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I am telling you this. If I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. All right, this podcast is going to be absolutely extreme. Extreme in a lot of different ways, but extreme in the first time that I had a conversation with this sensational young man that I'm about to have a conversation with. He told me point blank, Brent, I am going to be on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. You are going to be interviewing me. It is on my goal. It is on my goal board, my dream board. It is going to happen. I know without a doubt it's going to happen. And I told him 100%. Listen, the only thing you got to do is you got to get to work. You got to follow the plan and you got to get to work. And that's exactly what he did. Not only that, but he's going to break down a massive deal that he closed on a multifamily wholesale deal that he did. But listen to this. This is going to crumble all of those excuses that you might have in your head that you can't do this business, because this young man does business in Pittsburgh, but he is a 17-hour flight away and living in Israel, in Tel Aviv. I mean, I'm so excited to introduce Daniel Nissim to the podcast. This is going to be incredible. Welcome, Daniel.
Welcome, guys. Seriously, it's absolutely amazing. I've been waiting for that. As you said, I've been waiting for that moment for a while, and seriously, guys, I'm so excited. So thank you for letting me, sharing the story here.
And listen, guys, if he sounds like he's far away, he is far away. He's all the way across the world, and he's doing wholesale deals. He's done over 10 deals already in the last year in Pittsburgh, in a market that he's. Have you ever been to Pittsburgh, Daniel?
No, actually, I haven't been there. I should have been there in March, but I'm in because of the pandemic and everything, so I haven't.
So give us the backstory. Tell me about you. Tell me about what brought you into this business. I mean, it's such a niche business to be in. How did you find wholesaling real estate all the way on the other side of the world?
Yeah, so it's crazy actually, because it all started when I was 4 years old actually, and my father is a CPA, so he always told me, you know what, you're 4 years old, you're an adult now, go open a business. So ever since I was young, I mean, like when I was 10, 11 years old, I already read Rich Dad Poor Dad and all of that stuff when I was extremely young. So it was like, okay, so how can I get into that business? So I went to school and I get great, grades and everything, but I mean, something was missing. They never taught you anything about money or something like that. So in Israel you have to go to the army. So it's like instead of college you have to go to the army. So back then I went to the Israeli Air Force, and I used to be an air traffic controller. I don't know if you guys know what it means. These are the guys that actually in the middle of the airport with they have like the tower. So so back then I used to be an air traffic controller, and I didn't really have a time, okay, because it was 9 till 9, not 9 till 5. And I mean, some days in the middle of the night, if there's something secret that you have to do and stuff like that, and it was like, seriously, it was messy. And back then, I remember I wanted to go that road because they promised me that if I'm going to be an air traffic controller, I'm going to get to safe job with great conditions, and you get the check every month, and everything's going to be sunshines and rainbows. But during the process, I realized I hate it. I totally hate it. I mean, I hated every moment of it, and I say, okay, how can I get out of that, rat race? Even though I haven't been there yet, but I mean that were my the thought that I had. So in the middle in the middle of the service that I had back then, I just asked myself one time in the middle of the night, actually, what would Daniel, the 4 years old, would do. Okay, what he would like me to do actually if he was in the same position that I am right now when I was like 18 years old, 19 years old, something like that. And I remember that I used to like to play Lego, and when I was young, and I say, yeah, I had that dream about becoming a developer, like or something like that. So how can I, get closer to that area? Even though people always say, none of your family members ever been through that industry, nobody came from that industry. Your father is a CPA, your mother doing something different. I mean, you have to be somewhere with connections or something to get into that business. And I say, screw it, I'm gonna make it anyway. So I just stopped everything during the the Air Force. I mean, I mean, still done well over there, but I mean, I just started learning, and then I think someone told me. I read a book named How That Idiot Is Rich and I'm Not, written by How Come That Idiot Is Rich and I'm Not by Robert Shemin. He was actually the guy that wrote the book, and at the end of the book there was like a seminar or something in Israel, and I was like, wow, seriously, that guy comes to Israel, and I was like, I must go. And then my sister actually bought me the ticket for that, and she came with me, and the first time I met Robert, and I actually saw it face to face, and I was like, wow, he was like, I mean, seriously, that guy changed my life. Okay, and he was the first rich person I ever met, and he was so nice, extremely nice, seriously. And he talked about real estate, and the seminar introduced me to a group in Israel that actually teach about that. Their name is Project X. They're awesome. And I said, how can I get in? I mean, how can I get in? And they wanted, they were pretty expensive, and I was a soldier. I didn't have the money. So back then, when I came back home, I came home like twice in a month. When I came back home, I used to work during the weekends, from morning till late nights, to get the funds to get the education that I wanted, because I didn't have the money, and I also borrowed money to get into the program. So at the moment I finished the Army, I said, okay, I was about to finish the Army, and I said, what can I do in my last year in the Army to make sure the moment I start, the process in the program after I finish the Army, how can I make sure it's going to be, smooth as possible? And I say, I have to work on my English, because my English was actually, it was good, but I mean, I couldn't really make any conversations or something the way I do it with you right now. Even though my grammar is not the best, you can probably tell within a second that I'm not a native.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. You're crushing. Yep.
Yeah, you can tell within a second that I'm not a native speaker, but I mean, I said, okay, how can I improve my language as much as I can? And I said, okay, I have to start reading in English. I have to start listening to audiobooks, and I have to start, writing. I just started writing notes like about aviation and everything. It was everything in English. I changed the phone. Everything is English. Everything. I used. I tried grammar teachers. I ordered books from Cambridge and London to get as much as I can. Learn, and I used to wake up at 4 a.m. to do it, because I didn't really have time during the Army, because, as I said, it was it was a mess over there. So I finished the Army service. I think it was like year ago, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and I started the program, and it was awesome because my English was it was okay. I mean, I've improved it since I started learning and everything, but I started the program, and I was fascinated by real estate, especially in the U.S., because they teach you how to invest in the U.S., not in Israel, actually, which is crazy, by the way. And then they started teaching about the U.S. and the markets and everything, and I was fascinated. And then after I used a partner and money partners, we bought rental over there. We actually bought a rental in Pittsburgh. Yeah, but then I think it was like in the middle of the course or something of the course. I just you run out of money, and then I talked to one of the teachers over there actually, and the mentors, and he said something about, I just went to a seminar with Max Maxwell. I think it was 2019 or something, that he has like the event We Live or something like that. That he has like I think he had an event or something, and I said, who's Max Maxwell? And he said, just Google that guy, okay? Google Max Maxwell, and he teaches about real estate and about wholesaling. I said, what's wholesaling? And he said, wholesaling is, like your mentor told you something about flippers that they buy properties from wholesalers. So you can become that guy. Say, wow, what do they know? How can I become that guy? I want to be that guy. And he said, Google Max Maxwell. It was on January. I think it was somewhere around January. Back then, I was in the middle of the course over there. I had a 9 to 5 job that I hated. Actually, I worked only to make sure that I pay back the loan I take to get into the course. And one day, I remember I was sick. I just wake up and I didn't want to come to the job. I hated every second of it. I mean, because and part of it, and part of the day you actually learn about that in real estate and everything, and then the second part you're just like doing things that you hate. So I mean, I was sick. Seriously, I was sick, and I just talked to my boss and say, listen, I don't know how we're gonna make it, but I just have to quit. And I mean, I don't want to work here anymore. Even though he's a family member, I said, listen, I don't want to work here anymore. Seriously. And I just quit, and I said, okay, it was January. I had no money, okay, and I said, I had to make it work. I had to find a way, okay. And then I was obsessed about real estate and about wholesaling because I just heard about that Max Maxwell guy, and I remember it was January 2020. Actually, it was 2020, the beginning of that year, and everything that I've done was I woke up. I go to workout. I went to workout, sorry, and then YouTube University, and everything. And then and then I heard about you and Wholesaling Inc. And I was man, one day I'm gonna be on that show in Wholesaling Inc. And I'm gonna I'm gonna share my story over there and make sure someone is gonna change someone's life, hopefully. And it was in my head, in the morning in the gym back then. I mean, I remember it was like 6 a.m. I remember you talking to a guy in my age. I think it was Jack White. What was the name of the guy? Jalen White. I think that was the name of the guy. He's from California or something. And I said, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to do it. I mean, I'm going to be on that show. Jalen White. Sorry, Jalen White. That was the name of the guy. So, yeah, and I started using the TTP script that you gave online, and all the tools that you gave for free actually, which is insane. Seriously, that you gave so much value, and you guys and all of the great teachers over there just give so much value for free. And I just started doing the thing that needs to be done.
It's incredible. Well, first of all, just to unpack, because that's a lot, but I love it, bro. You learned a second language to go after a dream of real estate from reading a book that most people are reading in their 20s and 30s. You read it at 10. It planted a seed. Rich Dad Poor Dad planted a seed, and that seed didn't blossom until you were frustrated being an air traffic controller and you saw an opportunity for somebody that had written a book that was in your town that was talking about investing in real estate. You unwind all that, and then somebody in that program tells you about wholesaling, and then you go, oh, I found it. And the beautiful thing is, listen, everybody listening to this or watching this, if you're listening to this, definitely check out the put a face to a voice here. Check it out on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. But oh my gosh, like you you went all the way to finding wholesale. And then not only that, you became obsessed. And everybody listening and watching this has that fire in their belly. They have that fire in their belly. They have that passion that you have, but they just, sometimes we just don't take action because maybe we're not frustrated enough. Maybe we're not stressed enough in our current circumstances. Maybe just the right things didn't hit and align, but it just, boom, you found it and you were off and running. And now not only are you obsessed with it, but you're being successful in a market you've never stepped foot in. Right? I have no. And Daniel, I have people here locally in Phoenix that have seen every video that I've done, heard every podcast, seen every Instagram post, and they just can't get going, to get started, to call their first seller, to go on their first appointment. They just can't do it. They really want to, but they just can't do it. And that, my friends, is the difference between you must do it and you want to do it. That's the difference between doing a deal every once in a while and being a superstar. You must not live an average life. You must not be an air traffic controller for your whole life. Even though it's secure, even though it's wonderful, even though you get benefits, even though you get all those things, you must not do that, because it is sucking out your soul. It is literally taking everything out of you. It is draining you of like life-giving energy. And you made the decision. And then you quit another job after that, and you were just like, I'm going full force into this. I think it's an incredible. Listen, I haven't. How old are you?
22.
22 years old. All of this at 22 years old. I can't imagine where you're going to be at 30. It's going to be absolutely bananas. It's going to be incredible. I mean, you put in. You have. Something about your dad telling you to get a job at 4 years old. My son's going to be 4 in about a month. I'm going to tell him to get a job. I'm going to tell him to get a job every week, and I'm going to put Rich Dad Poor Dad in his bedroom and hope that someday he reads that thing, because man, you turned out fantastic, brother. I mean, you are just, you're a true inspiration. You're living all the way across the world. You're doing business here. It's wild. It's bananas. So let's break down a deal. Let's get everybody excited. It's nice. They now know you. Now let's give them the meat and potatoes. Let's let them sink their teeth into how do you actually get deals. So you have a 6-unit deal that you closed recently. Massive deal. We'll save the number till the end, but why don't you tell me how did you find it? Did you call him? Did you text him? Did you mail him? Was it web? What was it? How'd you find them? What list were they on, if they were on a list, and how long it took to do the pre-qualifying and the lead follow-up to the point where you actually got paid. So let's break that down.
Okay. So that one was a text, actually. I use, I cold call, and I also, I use batch for, batch leads for the text. That one was a text. It was a tiled landlord, actually. The way you actually always say in your videos, tiled landlord, more than 10 years old, been the owner of the property. And that time, actually, I just said, maybe I should put the multi-units also in there. Let's give it a try, okay? Let's give it a try.
I have been telling you.
Yeah, because you told me that, actually. You said something about it. I said, you know what? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm gonna do. And I just add the multi-unit tiled landlord. And so I text the guy, and there's like, you can just after you've been cold calling for a while, you can just smell the tire kickers, the guys that are not really motivated. You can just tell. I can tell within seconds if he's not motivated, like within seconds. And that guy, actually, I thought he's not motivated. Seriously, I was thinking till the moment we signed the paperwork, he's not motivated. Okay. I texted the guy, and he said, "Listen," I said, "Hey, the script that I use is the same script that you actually told everybody to use. Hey, this is Daniel. I just texted about the property in X, Y, and Z Street. Just wanted to know if you would consider any offers for the property over there." And he said, $300,000, not a penny less. One of these guys, And most of the time in Pittsburgh, actually, when you see $300,000 for a property, you're just like, it's not Phoenix. I mean, and I was like, I was about to just skip and move on and say not interested and move on. And I said, let's click on it. Let's check it out. And I check it out, and then I talked to the guy. I just, the moment I talked to him, I said, so is selling is something that you would even consider, or just looking for an offer? Okay, that's one of the sentences I use all the time while texting to see if someone is seriously motivated or like just looking for an offer.
Say that again.
Is selling is something that you've been seriously considering, or just looking for an offer? That one I use it all the time to make sure the guy on the other side is actually motivated. And then he said, "Yeah, I might consider selling." And that one sentence, "that might consider," that possibly, that these guys, I like these guys. So I just say, okay. I just grabbed the phone and picked the phone and just start talking to the guy. And he said, "Listen, I'm not living in there actually. I'm an absentee owner, which is like another layer of the of motivation. And then I had like a there's like a alarm in your head the moment they say these things. And then I said, okay, so tell me more about that. And he said, listen, I'm not in Pittsburgh. The property's been vacant for a while, but that's the number that I want to get for the property, not a penny less, okay? And listen, I haven't done multi 6 unit building. I've never sold something like that in my life. I mean, never done something like that. And I remember that morning. I think in the morning I heard one of your podcasts actually, and it was like wholesaling hotline with Pace and Jamil, and you guys always preach for like you always say, hey guys, if you don't have something, go squat up. And I say, well, yeah, I think I should squat up with someone that knows how to do it. And I talked to one of the local wholesalers in the area, and I said, listen, I've never done something like that. Can we JV on that one? And he actually said, you know what, the number he said is not that high. Maybe we should check it out. And then he met with the seller, talked to the seller, and then we come up to an agreement for 315. I think it was 315 over there. And he said, I think we might be able to dispo that one for 350. Okay. So that was actually the way we lock it down, and we were aiming. We aimed to get 350 over there at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, and then what happened? So we sent it. Okay, we used their cash buyers list. I have my own cash buyers, but they are actually bigger, and they're bigger than me in that market. And they blasted. Okay, and then what happened is it was a fire. Seriously, people just started calling and sending offers and wanted to and come see the property. It was insane. And then, I mean, at the end, I think it was after the day, after the showing, he just texted me in the middle of the night and said 400. And I said, what? He said 400. And I said, oh wow. I was like, and I said, oh 400, okay. So then after we've actually signed with the end buyer for that, somebody tried to get the seller, get behind our back over there and try to talk to the seller and say, hey, listen, these guys are not serious, because they actually showed him, I think, the mail he got from us. And yeah, it was a mess. So we had to talk to the guy and pay him to come up with the numbers a little bit to 325 instead of 315 to make sure everything is going to be okay, and just save the deal, so called. And then at the end, it was like 2 weeks ago, it was over after we've been waiting for almost I think it was November till January, so November, December, January, almost the 90 days that you're always talking about. It takes about 90 days to get the check from the moment you contact the guy. So 2 weeks ago actually, we sold that property. We had it for $325, and we sold it for $400,000.
And made total how much?
$75,000.
Come on, man. Yes. Oh my gosh. Listen to this. Okay. So some really important coaching points here. All right. Number one, listen to me, everybody out there. Multifamily units, tired multifamily owners. I'm going to give you the most incredible good news is a lot here. Here's what's held people back from going after multifamily. A lot of them, most of them are owned by LLCs. Well, guess what? BatchSkipTracing.com, which I tell everybody to go to because they have the most accurate phone numbers for the properties you're trying to get a hold of. They can now, and they spent a lot of money to be able to do this, they can now give you phone numbers for the LLCs and the trusts. Now, it's not it's about 30 to 40% success rate, but that is bananas. That opens everything up. I mean, oh my gosh, you have to be going after properties that were built before 1990 that the owners owned for at least 7 years. All right. You can pull these. You can pull all those lists of those at ttpdata.com. ttpdata.com. I'm just giving you resources so you don't have to go and like, what do I do next? What do I do next? You can pull it right there, get the list, skip trace it, boom, you're calling, you're texting, you're going after it. Another thing Daniel mentioned was 90 days. Listen to me. That is the average it takes from day one. The point, the origin of contact to getting paid is typically about 90 days. All right. Stay in the saddle, stay focused. All right. The next coaching point I want to point out is this. If you're going to send out, like Daniel had, his joint venture partner had a big list. You never know who's on that big list. Some people on that big list, if you don't accept their offer, they're going to try to go behind your back, especially in some sort of bidding war, and they feel salty and they feel bitter and they want to go out and they want to try to go behind your back and show it to the seller and start like just throwing a bunch of mud all into this transaction. All right. So if you're going to send it out to a big list, you need to have this conversation with the seller. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as soon as I open up escrow on this, as soon as we put this property under contract, I'm sure people are going to find out about this deal. They're going to come to you and try to get you to take a different offer. Well, let me tell you, we are locked in. We are committed to each other. You're committed to me. I'm committed to you. We can't, until we go through this process, we are together on this thing. And we're going to get this done as smooth and as easy for you as possible. All right. So you just future pace them. If somebody comes up and tells you and is trying to like offer you, just tell them I'm already under contract. Here's Daniel's number. You can call him to talk about it. All right. That's what you do there. Or what you do is you bring it to a select amount of people. You don't blast it out to your giant list. You bring it to a few trusted buyers. You try to push the value on it to get the most out of it, and you keep it very private, especially on a deal that's $75,000. Well, at the time, Daniel, it was $85,000 because he didn't even know, right? It was $85,000 that you were going to make on this thing. So that's a couple different strategies when you have a big deal. Another way you can do it if you want, if you're feeling like this is going to be a really big deal, I highly suggest you close it as fast as you can. You get either what's called transactional funding, which just Google it in your area. It's expensive, but what they will do is they will give you 100% of the funds to close it as long as you have a buyer that's going to close it right behind you, or just raise the funds from somebody private, close it, and then put it on the market or blast it out once you own it. Then you have no worries about it. So there's a lot of different ways to protect you there, but just find one of those strategies. All right. And then the other thing you mentioned is you got this from batchleads.io, right there in the services of batch skip tracing, batchleads.io. If you use the coupon code TTP, you get like 500 free texts. Definitely check that out. And the last one, I love that you talked about it, Wholesale Hotline, every Monday at 5:00 Arizona time. We go live and answer questions on the YouTube channel. Definitely check that out. But holy cow, Daniel, you rocked it. I mean, yes, you got half of it. You got 37.5, but oh my gosh. I mean, when that hit your account, what'd you feel?
It was like, wow, it's possible. You know, you always see it on the television. You always hear it on the podcast actually, and I say, wow, it's possible to make so much money. You know, and it's just possible. You know what I mean?
It's fact. It's a fact. You crossed the bridge. I've said this a billion times. People are probably tired of me saying this on this podcast, but you cross the bridge from faith, believing that you can do it, and you cross over to the side of fact. And now your brain has changed. It changes your brain chemistry. Now you're thinking about big deals. Now you're thinking about, oh, I guarantee you, as soon as you close this, in your mind, you're like, man, it was almost 100,000. It was almost a 6-figure deal. I need to get myself one of those. I guarantee you that's going through your head. So, I mean, just absolutely incredible. So, Daniel, just to kind of put a bow on all this, and just look to the future and really, what does it look like? Sourcing real estate opportunities, which is essentially interchangeable with the word wholesaling. That's what wholesaling is sourcing, finding real estate opportunities. The art of finding discounted properties, whatever you want to say, is the foundation of being a real estate entrepreneur. What's the next step? Are you looking to be the bank? Are you looking to develop properties? Are you looking to flip? Are you looking, are you looking to own like a huge portfolio? Like what's in your brain? What is the vision?
It's a great question, actually, because I just talked to me and my friend. Actually, I think we talked about that one. So I mean, as I told you, I'm currently like chasing after that dream that I had back then when I was 4 years old. It was like I just love to play Lego and everything, and all of that, these games, and I'm still, seriously, I'm still playing every day. I'm still playing. That's my attitude when I do these types of things. So I would like to be a developer, to make sure I fulfill that dream and actually make it. Even though right now we're buying properties and we use wholesaling as a source, I use wholesaling as a source to buy properties and actually, like cherry pick and get the best of these. But definitely, I actually have it's written down here. Within 5 years, I'll actually become a developer, and also in my country also, and develop neighborhoods and change people's life, through building. Because I believe that if you change someone's environment, you can change their life. You can see New York and Chicago, the way they change the environment over there, the buildings, they change the atmosphere, and then people actually started treating better the neighborhoods and then the streets and everything. Like you can take toilets, for example. If the toilet is clean and everything, people just make sure it stay clean. You know what I mean? So that's the effect that you have, the environment have on the person. So I believe that through buildings you can change lives, actually. So that's why I would like to become a developer.
Love it. Love it. And how do people get a hold of you?
Actually, Facebook is awesome. I use Facebook for Wholesale Real Estate. You can just Google, not Google, sorry, search for Daniel, Daniel, Nissim, which is Nissim, and feel free to reach out if you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or just just want to say something. I mean.
And if you're in Tel Aviv, right? I mean, people are going to hear this, right? I mean, obviously, reach out to them, connect with them. And if you're in Pittsburgh, joint venture. So, Daniel, what an incredible story. I was so excited for today. I really was. I was telling my whole team, I was like, oh my, this is just going to blow everybody's, face off. It's incredible. I mean, listen, you're doing this all from that thing dangling from your ear right now, right? You're doing this all from an old school iPhone, headphone, I mean, it's incredible. And that's what you need. You need that, but it starts with your mindset. It starts with your ability to build up your confidence and your courage to pick up the phone and to have a quality conversation with a distressed property owner. That's where it starts. That's where you go. And then from there, you build a pipeline of leads, and those close. You start building, you start building. And then all of a sudden you look up, you're 22. By the time you're 32, you're now developing skyscrapers. Who knows? I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. So such an inspiration. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
All right. And everybody out there listening, if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. Without a doubt, go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP, wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, check out the unbelievable people doing unbelievable deals time and time again. Nobody has more testimonials. If it feels good, see what the program's about. It's a one-on-one mentorship with me. Daniel, you have my cell phone. We talk all the time. You text me all the time. That's what it's about. I love it. Anyway, if you're interested in that, if it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call, and I'd look forward to working with you. And that's it. What an incredible story, all the way from Tel Aviv. you can do this. What'd you say? It's just a belief. It's just, getting that deal through changes everything. And I want that for everybody. So thank you, Daniel, for giving us a real example of what that means. And for everybody out there, as always, I encourage you to talk to people. Until next time, see ya. Love you.